Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be a low buy update. Obviously, I haven't filmed one of these in a while because I haven't been filming videos recently, but the last time I did an update, I believe was in March. So it has been quite a while and I did go a little crazy. So most of this video is just going to be a haul of all of the new products that I got, but I will go over the sort of rules and things I want to follow for my low buy this year. So this is only my second low buy update this year. I did the intro and then I did one update. And initially I started doing a beauty bank type of concept, which I got the idea from It's Just Steph here on YouTube. She's been doing this for the past couple of years. And it's basically where you have a beauty bank. So when you finish up products in your collection, it adds to your beauty bank. And then when you bring products into your collection, it decreases your beauty bank. I initially started with 9 products in my beauty bank, and I was going to do a 2 out, 1 in rule where I finish off 2 products and that allows me to add 1 back to my beauty bank instead of like a 1-to-1 ratio, which I am now changing that. So now I'm just going to do a 1-to-1 ratio. So at the end of my last update, I did technically have 8 products left in my beauty bank to use up. So 8 is not a ton. I mean, I probably shouldn't have bought many more than 8 products, but I do have 21 new products here to share with you guys. So clearly I did go a little overboard. I'm probably not going to be buying much makeup for the rest of the year. At least I don't plan on it. So I'm not really sure if I still want to do this beauty bank concept. I'm going to continue with it just for the fun of it and to see what number I end up at. It may end up being negative at the end of the year because right now, obviously, it is negative. After I show you guys all these products, I will sort of talk a little bit more about that. But basically, my main goal this year is to spend less than $500 on makeup, which I did last year. I spent 400 something on makeup last year. So my goal again is to just stay under that amount. My statistics so far is I've bought 28 products in total, which adds up to $284. So we're less than halfway through the year and I've already spent a little bit over half of my budget. So I do plan on cutting back a lot later on in the year, especially for the next few months. But I don't necessarily want to put myself on a strict no buy or anything. I kind of want to just buy products as I feel like buying products. And I know I don't need any more products in my collection. I know I already have so many that are going to take me a while to use up. But I do really just love makeup, so I like to have a lot of variety in my collection, a lot of different products to play with. So my collection has definitely grown a little bit, but I'm not mad about it because I do like trying a lot of different products. Now, I think the main reason I ended up purchasing so many products, especially in the month of April, is because April is my birthday month. So I got a few gift cards and I obviously am going to use the gift cards. I'm not just going to let them go to waste. So I bought some of these products with gift cards, but some of them were kind of like birthday gifts to myself, which I'll get into that when I show you the actual products. But something else that I don't take into account with my low buy are all the products that I end up decluttering. I did recently do a whole collection declutter, so I got rid of quite a few products in my collection. So I've definitely decluttered a lot more than I've brought into my collection. But in these low buy videos, you guys don't really see that side of things. So if you want to see my declutter videos, I do have a playlist with all of my declutter videos that I've done in the past. So make sure to go check that out if you're interested in it. But let's just go ahead and get straight into this little haul, or quite a big haul, because this is going to take quite a while. I'm not going to talk a ton about all the products just because we'd be here forever. So I'm going to try to go relatively quickly through them, which when I say that, I usually end up talking about them for a while. But anyways, let's just start with this one product that doesn't technically count towards my new product count, I guess. This is a ColourPop Super Shock shadow. You guys know I decluttered all of my ColourPop Super Shocks just because I was never reaching for single eyeshadows, but my taste in makeup and sort of the way I do my makeup has changed a lot. So I had decluttered this, but I actually brought it back into my collection because I hadn't gotten rid of it yet. I was trying to sell it on Mercari and it never got sold. So I was just gonna go ahead and throw this out, but it's not dried out yet. And this is the shade Birthday Boy, and it's a really pretty sort of taupey, glittery shade, and it has some like pink iridescent type of glitters in here. and it's really, really pretty. Like I said, it's not dried out yet, so it's not that old. This was one of the newer Super Shock shadows I brought into my collection, so I decided to bring this back into my collection because I have sort of fallen in love with these taupey shades. I just love using these as one and done shadows. I think it makes my eyes pop a lot, so I will just apply this all over the lid as a one and done shadow, and it's really quick, so it's easy to just throw in the morning when I'm in a rush. Next up, I did place a Makeup Geek order because their brand is closing down, which is really, really sad. But I mostly picked up a lot of their brushes because I already have my eyes on those. And I also, the other main thing I really wanted to try from them was their mascara, which obviously they're going out of business, so if I end up really liking this, I'm not going to be able to get it again, which is really sad. But I did just want to try this because it's not very expensive, but I feel like Makeup Geek is really good quality, especially for the price, which it's sad they're closing down now. So I did end up picking up this mascara, but Marlena, who is the owner of the brand, also threw in a couple freebies because their shipping took so long. I guess it just took them so long to pack up all the orders and get them out that they threw in free products with everyone's orders. So I did actually get 2 eyeliners, and if you've been watching me, you know I never wear eyeliner, but I'm actually kind of glad that I got these because the only eyeliner that I have in my collection is like a forest green shade, and I think these were like the colors I probably would have picked out if I was going to buy eyeliner, even though I never buy eyeliner because I know I just don't wear it. But this is the shade Gunmetal, and it's a really pretty sort of taupey metallic shade, obviously like a gunmetal shade. I do have this sort of smudged on my upper lash line today, and I really, really love the way it looks, so I'm glad I ended up with this shade. And then they also just threw in a nude shade, which I'm glad to have because I have been kind of wanting a nude shade just to throw in my waterline. I haven't used this on my eyes yet, but these are really creamy and I do really like them so far, especially this gunmetal shade. So these I did not count towards my numbers either because this was sort of just like a freebie thrown in. I didn't necessarily order them, and I also don't really keep track of eyeliners in my makeup inventory just because, like I said, I never wear them. I don't really have any in my collection, so it'll be nice to have these if I want an eyeliner, and I feel like I will get a good amount of use out of this gunmetal shade. But I don't really keep track of eyeliners in my inventory because they're not something I ever really think about or go out to purchase. Then I did make an Ulta order at some point in April. There was a couple things I wanted, and I just decided to treat myself a little bit. So some of these products aren't very exciting. A lot of them are like base products, kind of replacement products, but there were a couple things I threw in here that I feel like are a little bit more exciting for my birthday month. So first off, I got this Wet n Wild Glass Correct primer, and this is a green primer, and it's really just a glowy primer. It's not super green, but I was inspired to get this or some kind of green primer by Hannah Louise Poston because she uses a green color corrector before she puts on her base products, and my skin is sort of naturally red, especially my face, so I did want some kind of green product to kind of cancel out that redness. Next time when I finish this off, I may try more so a color corrector than like a glowy green primer like this. I find that this isn't very green, especially once you blend it out. It does slightly tone down my redness, but it doesn't do a lot in terms of color correcting. So I probably will try some kind of specific color corrector, green color corrector, after I finish this one off. Then I got just a replacement of a clear brow gel. I have recently gotten into clear brow gels and I do really like them because I will fill in my brows with the color and then I want to set them down, but I don't necessarily want to add any more color. So this is the Revolution brow gel. This is obviously the clear version, and I have really, really enjoyed this. It's only like $6 or $7 and it's a really good price. I also really like the brush because it's really small, so it's easy to just throw through my brows. It doesn't necessarily get everywhere. So I have really enjoyed this. I probably would repurchase this, but I haven't tried a lot of clear brow gels, so I mean, I'll probably try a different one when I finish this off, but I definitely would go back to this. And then I also picked up an eyeshadow primer just because I was running low on a primer. So this is the CoverGirl Lid Lockup, and my eyelids were getting really irritated at one point. I was trying to figure out what ingredient it is, and I think that ingredient that is irritating my eyes might be in this. So I honestly haven't used this for a while. these are the products. I'm sort of going in chronological order. So these are the products I got like at the beginning of April. So I haven't used this for the past couple months. I think this might be what's irritating my eyes, some ingredient in here at least. So I haven't used this. I have been using a different eye primer. I'm using the Ulta Beauty. I think it's the matte eye primer. But there is a ingredient I think that's in this and in another primer that was also irritating my eyes that is not in that Ulta Beauty one, because the Ulta one doesn't irritate my eyes. I'm not going to even try to say the name of the ingredient, but I think that's what's irritating my eyes. So I just haven't used this. I probably won't end up using this, but luckily it was only like $3 or $4. Then some of the more exciting products, at least I think so. I picked up some of the, well, initially I picked up one of the Honest Beauty lip balms. It's their tinted lip balm in the shade Summer Melon. And I got this with an Ulta order. I had really been wanting to try these for so long, and I've been really into tinted lip balms recently. And this is all I have left of this. So I've used probably about half of it, and I've had this for maybe a month. So I've just been keeping this on my desk at work and using it a lot, which is how I've obviously used most of it up. But I do really, really love this. And when I first got it, I tried on the formula, and it's really hydrating tinted lip balm. It's exactly kind of what I expected it to be, but I really, really love this formula, and it gives just the right amount of color. Like, you can build it up or you can sheer it out, but it's not too much pigment to the point where it looks like a full-on lipstick, and it is really hydrating on the lips as well. So a few days after I got this order, I actually went out and purchased another one. I believe I was making an order, I think from Target already, and I decided to throw in one of these anyways because I wanted to try a different shade. So I picked up the shade Dragon Fruit as well, which I'm really, really happy about because this is a brighter, more summery shade. I wanted something bright that I could use during the summer. And again, this looks kind of intimidating in the tube, but it doesn't show up nearly this bright on the lips. Obviously, I haven't used as much of this because it's not as much of a nude color. So this is what it looks like, and I'm like swatching it a lot, and there's not a ton of pigment showing up. So do you see there how it's obviously like not very intimidating? Ignore this. This is just a burn I got from a curling iron, which is kind of gross, but as you can see, these aren't very pigmented, which is why I like them so much. I kind of want to pick up all of the shades in these, but I know I have enough lip products that I don't need them, and I already have these two shades that I really, really love. Then from Ulta, I also picked up this Live Tinted. I use it as a color corrector. This technically can be used either on the lips, eyes, or cheeks. This is in the shade Perk, and obviously I wanted this as a color corrector, so I got like the light peachy shade, but they do have a wide range of shades in these, and they're kind of unique shades. I feel like they're kind of meant to be color correctors, at least the initial shades that they came out with, but I do really, really love this, and obviously it's a color corrector, so I put it under my eyes before concealer, and how I really like to use this is just putting a little bit right on the darkest spot of my under eyes, and then using a more light coverage concealer over top, just because sometimes light coverage concealers don't give me enough coverage under my eyes, especially the specific spot where it's pretty blue. So I like to throw this on there just on the deepest spot and then throw a light coverage concealer over top, and it still looks really light, like you're not wearing any makeup, but it just covers up my dark circles a little bit better. So I have been really, really enjoying this, and I do also like the formula. I feel like it's not too thick, it's not too thin, but it also covers up, and I've just really enjoyed this. It's not cheap. I believe I had a coupon code, but I believe this is also like a clean beauty type of brand. Next up, I got one of the classic NYX Jumbo eye pencils in a taupey shade. This is actually called Iced Mocha. And like I said, I've been really into these sort of taupey cool tone shades. So I really bought this just to do sort of a one and done look, and I have been really enjoying it. But this also has that same ingredient that the eye primer has. So I find if I apply a little bit of this, it doesn't irritate my eyes, but I don't love to apply this all over my eyelid as like a complete one and done shadow. If I do apply this, I'll just apply it like sort of on the outer corner, because I feel like this may irritate my eyes a little bit because it does have that same ingredient that I'm hypothesizing is the ingredient that irritates my eyes. So that's kind of sad, but I will still use this, and I can't can still use it without it irritating my eyes, especially if I don't apply too much. Next up, I wanted a really light coverage concealer, so I ended up purchasing the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer. Mine is in the shade Light 23C, and I've actually gone through most of this. I'm running pretty low on it, so I probably could have easily finished it by now, but I kind of stopped using it because I knew I was getting to the end, but I should just start using this again and finish it off. This was that light coverage concealer I would use on top of the Live Tinted color corrector, but obviously you can use any concealer with a color corrector. So I did really enjoy this. Obviously it's like a brightening, very light coverage concealer, so even though it's lighter than my skin tone, it is pretty light coverage, so it doesn't look weird if you get a shade that's like slightly too light for you, because it already is sort of meant to be lighter than your skin tone. So I have really enjoyed this. It's only $3 or $4, so if you're looking for like a pretty light coverage concealer, I would recommend this, but it's nowhere near like medium coverage. Like, this is the lightest coverage concealer I've used. It's definitely like light coverage. You can't really even build it up, but I do enjoy that if that's what you're specifically looking for. So I have enjoyed using this when I want that type of look. Next up, I got another concealer because I needed more concealers in my collection. This is the Undone Beauty Conceal to Reveal palette. I got mine in the shade 425 Cream Light, which is their second lightest shade. I initially was going to get their lightest shade, but I'm happy I went with this one. It is slightly too yellow, as you can probably tell, but when I blend it out, it doesn't look weird or anything. Like, it kind of blends into my skin. And this concealer has sort of like 3 sections to the pan. I don't know if you can tell because I kind of just blend them together, but this is like a full coverage, medium coverage, and light coverage. So I feel like at first I thought it was kind of like gimmicky, like are they really different coverages? But they are definitely. This one is definitely a lot more full coverage than this one, and it's not anything like super extremely noticeable. Like, I do notice it when I dip into this side of the pan. Obviously I get a lighter coverage with this side of the pan than I do with this side of the pan. It's definitely more full coverage, but it's not an extreme difference to where this is like super light coverage. Like, this isn't as light coverage as the e.l.f. concealer. So you're gonna get like medium to full coverage out of this. If you apply a tiny amount, you can get pretty light coverage. But I also like the concept of this because I can dip into here and get a full coverage for under my eyes or where I feel like I need more coverage. But then I can go into this side and get a little bit lighter coverage where I don't need as much. So I do really like the concept of this, and I do find it just really easy to dip into here with a beauty blender or a sponge and apply this in like less than 30 seconds. And then I also picked up the Flower Beauty Day Glow Highlighting Glaze. I've heard this talked about everywhere, so I did kind of give into the hype of this. This is in the lighter shade. It's called Stunner. I believe they have this shade and then like one deeper shade. And honestly, I haven't used this a ton. Obviously, it is new. It is definitely, from when I've used it, it's a very natural highlight. So if you're looking for something very natural that just sort of enhances your skin and is sort of like a glow from within cheek product, you almost can't even tell that this is on your skin when you use it. It looks very natural. So I do think this is probably like the most natural highlight I have in my collection, but I haven't used it a ton, so I can't really give a full opinion on it, but I am excited to use it a little bit more. So next up, for like my main birthday present that I got myself, I did actually order the mystery box from Odin's Eye, and they had a smaller mystery box and then a larger one. I did get the larger one just because I wanted to. So, and I actually got, on top of the mystery box deal, I got like another 10, I think it was like 10 or 15% off. So it was a really good deal for the products I got. And I figured, I kind of knew I wasn't gonna love all the products in the box, so I ended up keeping 5 of them. The other ones are going to other homes. I will try to sell them on Mercari. So the first product that I got in the box is the Soul Mane highlighter palette. So obviously this is a highlighter palette, and I actually really love this palette, especially because it is the one that has more neutral wearable shades in here. And I also just love the Odin's Eye packaging. Another thing that came in the mystery box is the Odin's Eye Alva palette. This was the one I was most excited for. Obviously I didn't know what I was gonna get, but I was hoping I would get this palette out of any of them, and I did have my eye on this. I just kind of was holding myself back from purchasing it because it is such a neutral palette. I have neutral shades in my collection, but what I love about this palette is there's so many shimmery metallic shades. There's not a ton of mattes in here, and I do kind of live for the metallic shades in eyeshadow palettes, especially these that are, some of them are more so like lid toppers, but there's also some that are more opaque metallic like shiny shades, but they are all pretty glittery, which I really love a good glittery shimmer metallic shade. So I've only used this maybe once or twice, so I haven't gotten a lot of use out of it, but so far I do really love it, and I already knew that I love this color story. I actually almost forgot about this little mini palette that I also got in that mystery box. This is the Alva 2 Mini Sky palette. And out of all of their mini palettes, I'm actually glad I got this one. This is probably like their most neutral, like the one where I would actually wear almost all of these shades. And again, there are 2 matte shades in here, technically 4 metallic shades. So I like the ratio of shimmers to mattes, and I haven't used this a lot. I think I used it like once, and I only dipped into like 1 or 2 of the shades. So I do really love the Odin's Eye formula so far. And obviously I now have these 2 palettes to play with. This was my first Odin's Eye order, which is why I decided to get the large mystery box, because I didn't have anything from them. And then I got I kept 3 lip products. I believe I ended up getting 4 lip products. I also got their blue highlighter, which was the one highlighter I didn't want, but that's okay. I still love most of the products that I got in the box. So first off, I got one of their lipsticks. This is their velvet lipstick formula, and it's the shade Red Cherry. So obviously it is a red, but I decided to keep this. I don't have a ton of reds in my collection, so I feel like it's good to have a couple. And I can like sheer this out a lot so it doesn't look like super red. But I also really like this formula, at least from what I've worn, and it is a velvet lipstick. Like usually you want your reds to be like matte or something that's not going to move around a lot. So I find that this will be easy to wear. It's not like a gloss or anything where it's going to slip around all over your face. So I did decide to keep this one. Also, their packaging is just really beautiful. Then I got one of their, I believe this is their more matte liquid lipstick. I got the shade Sweet Peach. I also had a more red shade, I believe in this same formula, which I didn't end up keeping. So the only things I didn't keep was 1 liquid lipstick and then 1 blue highlighter. So like I said, this is the shade Sweet Peach, so it's more of a neutral, everyday, wearable type of shade. This is a matte liquid lipstick, which I tend not to reach for a lot, but I find that this formula is really comfortable, and I don't have a ton of peachy shades in my collection. I also find that their colors are very nuanced and unique. Like I can't really find an exact dupe for this anywhere in my collection, and I don't know, there's just something about their colors and the specific tones of them that are a little bit different, which I really love. I also really love their formulas. I find them all to be really comfortable. The last lip product I got in that mystery bundle was their more sort of satin liquid lipstick. This is the shade Lady Camellias, which was one I was looking at on their website, like looking at purchasing. And I'm really glad I ended up with this shade. It's almost like, it's a little bit cool tone, but not really cool toned. I have this on my lips, but I also have 2 other things on top of it, so it's not really the true shade of it. But I really love this formula. I can sheer it out a lot to be like an everyday natural color, but you can also build it up to be relatively bold. Like it's not a super bold shade. This is probably one of their more natural shades, but I really love this color. Okay, we're getting to the end. The next 2, or all the rest of the products are products that I purchased with gift cards that I got for my birthday. So I got 2 $50 gift cards, one to Ulta, one to Sephora. So I ended up purchasing a couple of the Makeup Revolution Eye Bright Illuminating Under Eye Concealers. And the reason I got 2 of these is because I initially was getting the shade Deep Caramel to use as a contour sort of bronzer, which I do have underneath a bronzer on my cheeks today. Like I used creams underneath and then I put powders on top. So I do enjoy this. The color, I feel like if I apply too much, can look a little bit dirty on my skin, but if I apply the right amount, it is really pretty for like sort of a contour slash bronzer shade. So I have enjoyed this. I've only used it like once or twice so far. And then I got obviously the concealer in like my my skin tone, and this is the shade Light, which this matches my skin actually almost perfectly. So I'm really, really glad that I got this shade, and I do really enjoy this formula. It is the kind of concealer that I like, where it's not full coverage, but it's like a light to medium sort of buildable coverage. And it is a little bit more like illuminating, not too drying. So I have been really, really loving this formula so far. And then the other thing that I got from that Ulta order was the Ritual Defee, one of their cream blushes. Well, technically it's just like a pigment you can use however you want. This is the Color Nectar Pigment Balm in the shade Hummingbird, and this is a really unique shade. I wanted this for summer just to have as like a, obviously it's like a very summery, bright sort of coral shade, and I believe they described it as like a watermelon shade on the website. And this is definitely very unique to my collection, which now purchasing makeup products, I want to purchase products that are pretty unique and shades that I don't already have. Obviously, I don't want to end up with a ton of the same shades. So this is definitely very unique to my collection, and I'm really glad that I ended up with this shade. So then for the Sephora order I made with that gift card, I ended up picking up 2 Milk products, and I don't have any Milk makeup products in my collection. And I heard, I believe it was Khaki Reviews Beauty, talked about these in one of her recent videos, and she kind of convinced me to buy them, but I also really love cream products, so I will pretty much buy any cream product. These are the Bionic Bronzer and Bionic Blush. The bronzer, I got the lightest shade, the shade Time Travel. This is a little bit more of like a bronzy shade. It's definitely not a contour, but it is still a really good shade for my skin tone. And then the blush, I got the shade Infinity, which is the most sort of like cool tone pinky rosy shade. And this is actually a lot brighter than I thought it was gonna be. Like the outside packaging looks like sort of a cool toned pinky mauve type of shade, but then when you actually swatch it, it is like a brighter sort of, not really watermelon. It's different to the Ritual Defee shade, but it is a really pretty, a little bit brighter than the packaging, just like almost watermelon, like pinkish. I'm so bad at describing shades, but there is a swatch of it if that is helpful. I feel like it doesn't really match the packaging very well. But I do actually really love this shade, and I'm happy that it's brighter than what it looks in the packaging, especially for like the spring, summertime. So I'm really, really glad that I got this shade. I have used it a couple times. I have this again on my cheeks underneath a couple other blushes, so you can't really tell the true color of it. But I have used this a couple times already, and I tend to use like the brand new products to my collection, which is also why I like to shop my stash and go back to older products. And speaking of that, the next video will be a sort of spring shop my stash. So I'm really, really excited to film that one. And this video has been long enough. I did kind of already update you guys on sort of my low buy progress, but technically adding back in that Odin's eye palette that I forgot about, I brought in 22 new products since the last update. So I technically brought in 29 products this whole year to my collection. And my beauty bank is now at -14. So I'm not planning on purchasing any more products anytime soon. And actually that -14 number is not including the products that I finished off. This video is already too long, so I'm not going to show you guys the products that I finished off. I might do an empties video and just count those products in that video. And then obviously next update, I will share that number with you guys. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I'm trying to post videos at least once a week. So I think my schedule now is going to be like once a week posting videos, probably on Sundays. But if you do want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified every single time I post. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.